Welcome to BKR Chemistry classes. So today let us see how we are going to arrive at the Woodward-Hoffmann rule for electrocyclic reactions based on orbital symmetry correlation method. This method is a bit tedious one, but I'll make it simpler for you people. So first what we are going to do is that we are going to consider symmetry properties like C2 and M. C2 is the axis of symmetry and M is the plane of symmetry. And we are going to consider the symmetry properties for various molecular orbitals which are involved in bond breaking and bond formation. And these are to be considered throughout the reaction. After this has been done, we are going to draw a correlation diagram such a way that we are going to match the molecular orbitals of the reactant to that of the products. If the ground state of the reactant symmetries matches to that of the product, then it is thermally allowed. But if the symmetry of the molecular orbitals of the reactants matches to that of the product in the first excited state but not in the ground state, then it is photochemically allowed. So thermal and photochemical depends whether they are the orbitals, whether the molecular orbitals of the reactant are matching to the product. So these are the reactant orbitals, these are the product orbitals, they are matching with each other in the nearest energy in the ground state. This is thermally allowed. But if the orbitals do not match in the ground state but they match in the first excited state, then they are said to be photochemically allowed. Let me explain this by taking an example of cyclization of 1,3 butadiene to cyclobutene. Okay, let us see how to do this. So let us draw the orbitals Xi1, Xi2, Xi3, Xi4. Xi1, Xi2, Xi3, Xi4. Since I have 2 pi bonds, I'll be having 4 p orbitals involved. Therefore, I'll be having 4 molecular orbitals. So the number of atomic orbitals will combine to give you that many numbers of molecular orbitals. Okay, so the lower one will be having 0 nodes. You'll be having no nodes. So you'll be having all shaded, all the Xi function will be on the same side. And Xi2 will be having 1 node. So we know that the number of nodes is equal to n minus 1. Okay, nodes. So Xi(n) will be having n minus 1 nodes. So if I have Xi2, I'll be having 2 minus 1 nodes. So it will be having 1 node. So Xi4 will be having 4 minus 1, it will be having 3 nodes. So here I'll be having 1 node. So node is a place where the probability of finding the electron is 0. That is known as node. Now I'll be having 2 nodes. So across the nodes, the orbitals do not overlap. Nodes ரெண்டு பக்கம் orbitals overlap பண்ணாது. So they'll be having opposite Xi function. Okay, after doing this, we have to draw the molecular orbitals for the product also. So cyclobutene is going to form. So here I'll be having the sigma, pi star and sigma star. Pi orbital, this will be the pi star orbital, so that will consider only the, and here the final will be sigma star. Okay. So since we have bonding here, the Xi function will exactly overlap with each other. Here I have pi bond, so it is the bonding molecular orbital. Therefore, I'll be having same wave function so that they can have the bonding. And these are anti-bonding molecular orbital pi star, so they'll be having the opposite wave function. And this is again the sigma star, which is anti-bonding, so the rows will be having opposite side. Okay. Now let me consider the symmetry properties. So let me consider with respect to the axis of symmetry C2 and the plane of symmetry. So with respect to the plane of symmetry, so if I cut using a plane, so they can be easily cut. So you can see they can be cut. So it is symmetric with respect to the mirror plane. When I go for the C2 axis of symmetry, I'm going to pass an axis like this and I'm going to rotate it. So this orbital will come over here. So the sign of the lobes are mismatching. So that is asymmetric with respect to C2. Likewise, you have to do for all the things. Here with respect to the mirror plane, they are not overlapping in the mirror plane. Therefore, it is asymmetric with respect to the mirror plane. Here, when I try to do C2, it will be exactly symmetric. So it is symmetric. Here coming to this, here we can put a mirror plane here, therefore it is symmetric with respect to mirror plane. But when I put on C2 axis of symmetry, they cannot overlap, therefore it is asymmetric. Here C2 will be symmetric and plane of symmetry will be asymmetric. So this is for the reactant orbital. So let us do the same for the product orbitals. So product, I can put a mirror plane here. Yes, I can put, so mirror plane is there. So with respect to sigma, this is C2 here. So with respect to sigma, it is symmetric, and with respect to C2, if I rotate, I'll be having it is C. This will come here. So they are exactly symmetric. So yes, with C2 also it is symmetric. Here I have a mirror plane. Yes, it is symmetric. But when I go for the C2 axis of symmetry, it is not going to have the exact rotation here, therefore asymmetric. Here with respect to mirror plane, it is asymmetric, and with respect to C2, it is symmetric. And coming to this, it is with respect to mirror plane. I cannot draw a mirror plane, therefore it is asymmetric. And this cannot go over here. It's not possible, therefore asymmetric. Okay, so we have got the symmetry. We have got the symmetry with respect to the various reactant and product molecular orbitals. It is done. Okay. So once this is done, we have done the 75% of work. Okay. Now, one thing which you should remember is that when I consider the dis and con rotation, okay, so we can have dis rotation or con rotation. Dis rotation means the rotation in the opposite direction, and con means rotation towards the same direction. So it can be this can be in or it can be out. Okay, so but in opposite direction. Now when I look at these direction of the rotation, I can see that this can be considered with respect to the plane of symmetry. So I can use plane of symmetry for this rotation throughout the transformation, and here I can see that I can do the rotation C2 and I can use C2 axis of symmetry throughout the transformation for the con rotation. Okay, now if you are getting this into the mind, then let us go to the next part. Okay, now we have to consider thermal and photochemical condition. So for that, the electron distribution, just look at the electrons. So you have 2 pi bonds, therefore you have 4 pi electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Xi2 is the HOMO here, and this becomes the HOMO-LUMO energy gap. Okay, so in the ground state, thermal condition. So if they say ground state and thermal condition, as I've already told during the discussion of the problems, ground state and thermal can be said. So if they're saying ground state, it means thermal condition. If they're saying excited state, it means it is photochemical condition. Okay, so now we are going to compare the matching of the molecular orbital symmetries with the reactant and the products. If they match in the ground state, then they are thermally allowed. If they match in the first excited state, then they are photochemically allowed. So now the HOMO-LUMO gap lies between Xi2 and Xi3. So this is a HOMO-LUMO gap. Okay, under the thermal condition, let us consider the con rotation first. So for con rotation, we have to take the C2 axis of symmetry, okay? So let us take the C2 for the reactants and the products and compare it. So for the reactant, the C2 is ASAS. ASAS. So Xi1, Xi2, Xi3, Xi4, ASAS. And for the product, it is SASA. You can see it is for the product, it is SASA. So let us write that here under the product. SA. Okay. Once it is done, so this is for sigma, pi star, sigma star. Now try to match them. Okay. Now try to match them. So with the lowest energy possible, minimum energy possible. So they are matching here and they are matching here. And this is the HOMO-LUMO energy gap. Okay. So if I consider the C2, that is the Kohn rotation, so under thermal condition, the Kohn rotation is allowed. The Kohn rotation is allowed. See, there is no crossover and the energies are, the orbital symmetries are matching in the lowest energy possible. So they are not crossing over the HOMO-LUMO gap. If there is a crossover, then it is not allowed. Okay. So under thermal condition, for your 1,3 butadiene, 1,3 butadiene, which contains 2 pi bonds, which is a 4n system. So for a 4n system, under thermal condition, the Kohn rotation is allowed. Okay. So now let us look at the sigma, the plane of symmetry, and this plane of symmetry will take care of the disk rotation. So for this rotation, you'll throughout you'll be using the plane of symmetry. Now compare the reactant and the product. Okay. For the reactant, the sigma is here, as we can see here. It is SA. So let us write that first. SA. So SA. And for the product, it is SSAA. You can see for the product, it is SSANA. Okay. Now let us write that. SSAA. Okay. Now compare with the minimum, the nearest energy, you have to compare them. So S matches with S, and you can see that there is an crossover of the HOMO-LUMO energy gap. In order to match the symmetry properties, there is a crossover of the HOMO-LUMO energy gap. Or in other words, what I can say is that I'll be taking the first excited state. So thermal condition, this rotation is forbidden. Thermal condition, this rotation is forbidden because there's a crossover. Okay. Now let us check the first excited state. So in first excited state, what will happen? The electrons, one of the electrons will go from the Xi2 to Xi3. So Xi3 will become your HOMO, and this will become your HOMO-LUMO energy gap. So now let us consider that particular condition. So I'll be having the reactant, product orbitals. I have same thing, you write it again. Okay. Now this is your Xi1, Xi2, Xi3, Xi4. This becomes your sigma, pi star, sigma star. And now as we have seen the electrons. So I have 2 electrons here, I have 1 electron here, 1 electron here. So this becomes your HOMO. Okay, this becomes your HOMO, and this will be your LUMO. HOMO is highest occupied molecular orbital, and this will become your LUMO. Okay. Now compare with the nearest energy. So this overlaps. So under photochemical condition, when I consider the sigma, which is corresponding to the disk rotation, the photochemical condition allows it. Okay. So for sigma, the disk rotation is forbidden under thermal condition. It is allowed under photochemical condition. Okay. Whereas for C2, the Kohn rotation is allowed under thermal condition. There is no crossover. You can see there is no crossover, and With Xy2 we have done this correlation. We have seen that there is no crossover. எந்த crossoverம் நடக்கல, matching perfect நடந்திருக்கு. ஆனா அதே இது நான் thermal conditionல disrotation try பண்றப்ப நான் என்ன செய்வேன், sigma orbitals யூஸ் பண்ணுவேன்னா அப்ப எனக்கு என்ன ஆகுது, thermal condition அது allow ஆக மாட்டுறது. So நான் என்ன பண்றேன்னா I go for the first excited state. So first excited stateல பண்ணி பார்க்கறப்ப என்ன ஆகுது, correlation பக்காவா நடக்குது. So first excited stateனா அது photochemical condition. Okay, so என்ன rules நம்ம arrive பண்ணிட்டோம் இப்ப clear-ஆ? So என்ன rule arrive பண்ணிருக்கோம்? So foreign systemக்கு thermal condition, photochemical condition. So foreign systemக்கு thermal conditionல con rotation allowed-ஆ இருக்கு. And அதே இது photochemical conditionல disrotation allowed-ஆ இருக்கு. Very simple. So once this is arrived, 4n plus 2 நம்ம அப்படி எழுதிலாம். Thermal na dis, photochemical na con. Okay? But with the same correlation method, next video la நான் உங்களுக்கு பண்ணி காமிக்கிறேன் எப்படி நம்ம arrive பண்ணலாம். Woodward-Hoffmann rule for 4n plus 2 system. So இப்போ நம்ம என்ன பார்த்துட்டோம்? For a 4n system, thermal condition la con rotation is allowed, and for photochemical condition la disrotation is allowed based on orbital symmetry correlation method. Thank you so much. Keep watching. Keep learning.